Okay, well, this is what we set out to do, is inspect a hive and get a frame out without smoking it. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I don't like it. I do not like it.
Have you ever worked a hive without smoking it? Wow, are the bees going to be rough if you do that? Well, today we're going to find out, because I have to do an experiment without smoking the bees first. Hey everybody, David Burns going to be with you. Going to jump in a hive. We're going to do an experiment to see how bees react to smoke. And so I'm going to go in and get a frame out of nectar with bees on it, and we're going to bring it over here to a 5-frame nuke. Before we smoke, we're going to observe what the bees are doing on that frame of open cells of nectar. And then we're going to smoke it to see if it's true. Are bees going to gorge themselves? We can tell if they're eating or not. So let's get right into it and let's get started.
Don't ever try this at home. To open a hive up without using smoke, especially this time of the year, it's not going to be good. But for this experiment, we don't want to smoke them. Let's keep this kind of high up in the air. Boy, that block gets heavier every year. It's soaking up water. Getting heavier.
I saw you put it on one time with one hand.
Not that one. But,
well, maybe not
yeah.
that one, but a concrete block.
Yeah, when younger. Yeah, I think I did. All right, no smoke, so we'll go slow and easy, see what happens. I think it'll be all right. Famous last. Wow, let's go slow, quiet, and easy. The propolis is kind of hard today. Looks like that's the runway, so I'm going to stand over here, Patrick.
Okay.
Get out of the runway. Yeah, that was an abrupt. Oh, great. Well, there's a lot of bees, too. And a small hive beetle. There's a small hive beetle. Killed 2. I got to check my top cover here. Beetle, 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 beetle. I never give up a chance to kill some beetles. Didn't see any on the top cover. Wow. Okay, well, this is what we set out to do, is inspect a hive and get a frame out without smoking it. And I'll tell you right off the bat, I don't like it. I do not like it. Because I can't really get the reaction out of bees that I'm looking for, that's for sure. I want them to kind of be calm, and I can tell right now this is, wow, they're all looking at me. Oh boy. Let's just go slow motion, see if we can pull this frame up right here as our experimental frame. Trying not to kill any bees. Okay. And we're going to take this frame out. And again, what we're going to do is see what bees are doing on an open frame of nectar. And then we're going to smoke it to see if it's true that bees will gorge themselves. I kind of know it's true, but I want to see it with my own eyes. I've never observed it. Okay. A lot of people say that bees do that because they think their house is on fire. All right. This is a heavy frame, actually. There, I got a hold of it now. Let's see if it's a frame that we want. Boy, smoke really does calm bees down, that's for sure. All right, good enough. That's going to work. I got nectar on both sides and plenty of bees. So let's put it over here. And we're going to move away from this hive and do our filming in the shade away from the hive over here. Okay, so what we'll do first, let's don't smoke them just yet, but I do want to keep my smoker going. Let's keep the smoke away from them. So let's look at the bees and see what they're doing, see how many are eating. And one of the ways you can tell is their heads will be stuck in the cells. And if their abdomens are pulsating, they're usually eating. So let's look at both sides. Let me lean that over and look. Okay, we have a lot of bees with their heads in the cells. Do you see that? Like this one here, pulsating abdomens. They have not been smoked yet. Look at all these bees up here eating. See the abdomens pulsating? So this is really a hard thing to know because they all look like they're eating, and we have not even smoked them yet. Interesting. They also could be dropping off nectar, and that might be them expelling the nectar into these cells. But the only way we could know if they're expelling it or if they're eating it is to walk over to the front of the hive and just get a look to see, do we have a lot of incoming nectar? So let's take a look over there, Patrick. Now, sometimes I say that in order to determine if you have a lot of heavy nectar flow is to count the number of bees. And if you can count them, that's not a heavy nectar flow. I saw some pollen go in. I can count this really easily. You know what I mean? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, that's pretty slow. 6, 7. So there's, there's some stuff coming in, but it's not like a heavy nectar flow. So if they're coming back in this kind of low count, I don't think those bees are expelling nectar. I think they're consuming it. But I could be wrong, but I think that's what's going on. Just not a lot of honey flow right now. You can see some pollen coming in. It's like ragweed color or some kind of nettle maybe. All right, so let's go back and do our experiment and see what happens. All right, Patrick, you can probably get some good shots. We have bees. We've probably got 10 or 20 bees that are eating a lot of the nectar. You can see them over here, different individual ones that are there. But if we smoke the bees, we're going to see, do they all run to the cells? Are we ready to smoke?
Want me to focus on up in here?
I would say back up for now, right there. And then as we expect they might dive down to the nectar, I guess. All right, here we go with the smoke. Let's see if they start gorging themselves. I'm smoking them really good here. All right, that's plenty. All right. I think it had the opposite effect. Some people are going to be saying, well, they went to the other side to gorge themselves. Okay, so let's look at the other side, right? No more than we normally saw bees anyway. So when we smoked it, we actually have less bees that I'm observing than we started with before we smoked them. I mean, I do see a few, but we had those before we smoked them. That many. Interesting. All right, let's keep playing with this a little bit. See if we can maybe change what we're doing. So to me, it looks like the bees just tried to get away from the smoke rather than eat all that honey. All right, here we go. There's just hardly no bees at all on the nectar. Now, some people might say, yeah, but in a hive, they would have gone down to the frame below them and they would have eaten they would have gorged themselves on the frame below them. So what we're going to do to find out if that's true, we're going to put this in here like this. And then I'm going to go get another frame and hold it on top, smoke it, let the bees kind of run down, and then we'll see if that's true. Let me grab another frame and keep my smoker going.
You going to want a brush? Oh, you got one.
Yeah. What am I going to brush?
I didn't know if you're going to brush the top
off.
off there.
Yeah.
You got one there, so.
Yeah. All right. Let me grab another one now. Okay, let me pick a good one. Ooh, this is a good one, right? Should be nice here. Let's see. I really like this one here. It might have brood on it. Let's use this one. It has the bees on it. That's really wanting the bees more than anything. Got a lot of bees. Okay. The bees aren't too bad without a smoker. but not as nice as I'd like them to be. All right, I need 3 hands. So now what we're testing is we're going to pretend that this frame here, get the beads off the bottom without hurting them. All right, I think I did a pretty good job there. Okay, so let's see. Okay, good. We're going to smoke and see if it drives them down. You can see we haven't smoked this frame at all. So you see all the bees that are eating? Their heads are in the cells, their abdomens are pulsating, and we have not smoked this hive at all. This is what bees are doing without smoking them. I think every one of them has their heads in cells. Isn't that amazing? All right, let's smoke them and see what happens. There's a beetle. See if she'll get onto the wood. Yep, I got her. All right, good. Smash a beetle if you can. All right, let's smoke them down. We're trying to drive them to the frame below them to see if they'll start gorging themselves on honey. Their house is on fire, so they have to eat a lot of honey. To get away, they have to gorge themselves now. Okay, they didn't really change. They just moved around away from the smoke. It's hard to tell to me, but I think as many bees that were eating before I smoked are eating now, maybe less. I think a lot of them have moved. Let's smoke again, see what happens. Yep, that's interesting. I do see some going down to the frame below them. Let's see if we can keep driving them down on both sides. Let me get my smoker over there. Then we'll look at the frame below us. All right, Patrick, how about over here? Really no smoke has happened over here. Let's go ahead and smoke, see if we can get them to go down. So this is where you would think bees would be gorging themselves on honey because their house is on fire. To me, this looks like they're moving. Making a lot of noise. Kind of impressive here. I don't know whether these bees were all here eating before we smoked them or not, but obviously they're eating now, aren't they? Okay, let's look at the frame below that frame. All right. You would have to judge for yourself based on this video, but it seems like the smoke did not really cause a lot of bees to gather on all this open nectar after we smoked them. You see a lot of bees like right there on that bottom of that frame, not eating any honey at all after we smoked them. They just wanted to get away from the smoke. In my hand right here, look at that. They have all that. We saw a lot of bees, if you play the video back, we saw a lot of bees that were eating before we smoked them. But to me, it looks like there's a lot less bees eating now that we smoked them. They're just clumped up in piles, walking on top of each other. All of these bees that we see eating, there was more than that eating before we smoked them. All right. And if you look, we did smoke them. Pat's going to be hard to get down in there, but look at the bees that are just on the bottom down there. So these bees, to get away from the smoke, they just huddled over in the corner of the box there. And they have a frame right here. I'll move it over closer to them with nectar on it. They're not quick to go to it. And let's go back to the hive that has not been smoked. Let's look at another frame to see what the bees are doing there without smoking it. I'm about out of nectar only. A lot of it's capped over. Let's see. Might get some nectar maybe over here, away from the wall a little bit, away from the middle. Ooh, this is hard to do without killing bees. You got to really, usually I use my smoker to get bees out of my way. With my hive tool, can't do that here. Trying to work in slow motion. Hoping this is a frame of nectar with bees on it. We can see what they're doing in the hive like we did the other side. All right, back over in here. I'm trying to be careful because I didn't smoke them and the bees are all over the frames. This may be a honey frame, I can't tell. Go slow motion. Yep, we got honey with brood on it. That's a lot of the frames in this hive, in this top deep. Look out, bees. There we go. Well, this isn't a good frame to look at nectar. But you can see them working, seeing what they're doing. I guess we can see bees over here eating. We haven't smoked them. Do you see all the heads in the cells? They're pulsating over here where that open, the honey is, the nectar there. Well, let's put the hive back together and talk about our findings. Again, look at that. I smoked them. And look how many are just gathered down on the bottom of that frame. They didn't go up to the nectar. They were on the nectar before I smoked them, but now they just gathered down there. All right, now we got a lot of bees to dump in here. Let me grab them. See them down in the box there. All right, since these bees are exoskeleton, we'll go ahead and knock them down into a corner, and then we'll dump them in the hive. Like installing a package. All right, we'll give them a minute to get lower than the top cover. I can smoke them now though, let's do that. Sometimes when bees get in the air, you can smoke the air. That'll help kind of clear the area out sometimes. Get them off the box here so we can put the lid on it. All right, good. Oh, look at them coming in, Pat. Come around this way. You see all the ones that got airborne, they're coming in. And you can actually see some of the bees that are holding up their Nasonov gland, their abdomen in the air. See that at the tip of my hive tool? Nasonov glands that are opened up, spraying the Nasonov pheromone into the air just to help guide everybody in. They fan their wings to blow that pheromone smell up in the air. And then everybody knows exactly where to land. All the way, even this bee over here on the edge, they're doing it too. It's just another way of saying, hey, we're partying over here, everybody. I'll look through the video again, but it looks like to me when I was doing it out in the yard here, I didn't see bees that were rushing to gorge themselves. They were feeding more, in my opinion, before I smoked them. And Patrick is about to be stung out here. So anyway, that's kind of fun experiments that you can do. A lot of people do say bees think their hive is on fire and they gorge themselves with honey so they can leave and abandon ship and all. But when you stop and really think about that, bees have never been exposed to any house fires to speak of, and bees only live 45 days. So it might just be that we feel that when you smoke bees, it blocks their ability to communicate because they receive pheromones through their antenna, and smoke just moves them away from the smoke like it does us. If you're in a campfire and you get smoke in your face, you move. It seems like that's what the bees are doing to me. You're ready. Now, what's going to be hard about this, and so I'm going to go in there and get a frame out without smoking. So that's going to be interesting. Have you ever opened up? Let's do all that over again. I think I want to start with that. All right, here we go. Have you ever worked a hive without smoking it? How bad are the bees? I've got to do that today for an experiment. Help. Ready?
Yep.
All right, so
Okay, we're going.
all right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. What's up? Let's see, I'm going to say this. What's up, friend? David Burns. Good to be with you today. Got an exciting time out in the bee yard. Stay with me. I'm going to do a little experiment. I want to find out when you smoke bees, some of the literature, and of course, certainly all of the opinion is that when you smoke bees, they go down and get a drink of honey. So we're going to do that. We're going to see if that's true or not. Is that a good background look? I can close out here.
Yep.
Well, if you want to watch another video where we open this hive up with Judy, had a good time inspecting it, you want to see all the frames, this hive really looks good. Take a look at this video right over here. See you guys over there. All right, Patrick.